Hey, Jon Mathisen from RotoBaller here, and today we're going to be talking about some defense special teams targets for you to take in your upcoming fantasy football drafts. I think there's about 12 to 14 defenses that are worth drafting this season, but they're broken down into 3 separate tiers. So we're going to go over a couple teams per tier to give you a strategy to take into your draft with. My top tier, which includes, household names like the Niners, the Eagles, the Cowboys, and my favorite in this tier, the New York Jets. Now, they were pretty bad against the run last year. They brought over a couple D tackles from Seattle, Al Woods, Quentin Jefferson, and I think that'll help sort of shore up their rush defense. But also, they just had a terrible offense last year. They had Zach Wilson, Mike White, Joe Flacco under center at different times. All of them would turn the ball over at inopportune times. It put the defense in a very bad position. They have Aaron Rodgers now. Pretty big upgrade, I would say. So that's really going to help the offense, kind of raise the tide of this entire team, put the defense in a better spot. They still got Sauce Gardner, Quinnen Williams, and Jordan Whitehead. Well coached too. I like the Jets a lot. Staying in the top tier, I have the Saints actually. They have the easiest schedule in the NFL next season, according to Warren Sharp of Sharp Football Analysis. And they were 5th in total yards and 9th in points allowed last season. So top 10 in both metrics. They got Cam Jordan, Marshawn Lattimore, Demario Davis, Tyrann Mathieu, and household names. Older players, but still more productive players. And you got to like that easy schedule. Carolina twice, Atlanta twice, Tampa Bay twice. All kind of question mark offenses. We're not really sure how they're going to be. So I love the Saints. Moving into my second tier, we had the Denver Broncos. That's right, the Denver Broncos. They were actually a really good unit last year, but they were top 5 in forced fumbles, top 5 in interceptions, top 10 in yards allowed, and top 12 in points per game allowed. So they were a great unit. But again, like the Jets, they were hamstrung by a bad offense. Russell Wilson looked lost at times. Nate Hackett obviously could not hack it as a head coach. He's gone. In comes Sean Payton, who should hopefully retool and fix this offense and help fix Russell Wilson, which will help the defense. They traded Bradley Chubb, but they brought in Zach Allen and Frank Clark to help shore up their defensive line. They still got Justin Simmons. He's a stud at safety, former All-Pro, and Pat Surtain, who's an All-Pro corner. Staying in the second tier, I have the Baltimore Ravens because they're just consistently a top 10 defense every year, year in, year out. This team had no business making the playoffs last year, especially after Lamar Jackson got hurt. Tyler Huntley tried to do his thing, but they didn't have it last year. But the defense is really what kept them in games. And they lost Calais Campbell and Justin Houston on the pass rush. I'm a little concerned about that. They lost them both on free agency, but they brought in safety Marcus Williams, cornerback Rock Ya-Sin. You still got Patrick Queen and Roquan Smith at linebacker, 2 studs. They're just a well-coached team that you can count on. Next defense I want to highlight in this tier is the Washington Commanders. They ranked 3rd in yards allowed and 7th in points allowed last season. 43 sacks, 18 turnovers, not bad. And they were the top-ranked 3rd down defense last year in the entire NFL. I love their defensive line. I think everybody does. Montez Sweat, Daron Payne, Jonathan Allen, and Chase Young, who's back and healthy. The schedule is a little concerning. I think they're in a tough division, and I have concerns about their offense, but hopefully Eric Bieniemy can get that fixed and puts the defense in better spots this season. Staying in this tier, my final team would be the Pittsburgh Steelers. Top 10 in points allowed last year. That was with TJ Watt missing like 7 games with a torn pec. He's back, healthy, ready to go. Mike Tomlin, just a defensive coach. You can count on them, kind of like the Ravens. Moving on to my third and final tier, we have the Kansas City Chiefs, the Super Bowl champs. Obviously, you just got to love it. They have Patrick Mahomes, and they can score so many points that he can turn the opponent's offense one-dimensional, which allows the defense to pin their proverbial ears back. Still got Chris Jones. Nick Bolton's a stud at linebacker, and I'm actually pretty high on Trent McDuffie, who was the rookie cornerback out of Washington from last year. Staying in this tier for my final defense is the Los Angeles Chargers. This is a make-or-break season for head coach Brandon Staley. He's a defensive guy, and there's just studs at every level. You got Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack, Derwin James, who some say is one of the better safeties in the entire NFL. Asante Samuel Jr., I think, could have a bounce-back season. I like this team. The schedule's somewhat favorable. The division's not quite as tough as people once perceived it to be. Chargers will round out my final DST target. So to recap my top DST targets for the upcoming fantasy football season, in Tier 1, we had the New York Jets and the New Orleans Saints. Tier 2, we had the Denver Broncos, the Baltimore Ravens, the Washington Commanders, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. In Tier 3, we rounded out with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Los Angeles Chargers. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at EasyMath for more fantasy football analysis. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you got some helpful tips from this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to RotoBaller's YouTube channel for other great fantasy football analysis.